ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Today we will discuss Ayur Mantra and after that Arogya Mantra. So two mantras and first let us see the Ayur Mantra, which essentially is a nomenclature which is given later. Originally it is a part of Taittirya Aranyaka. So this Ayur Mantra is part of the Taittirya Aranyaka chapter 4. So which is which details about various procedures called as a pravargya and such other rituals. So the mantra, many of you may be aware, many of you may be already chanting, starts with āyurdhehi prāṇaṃ dhehi, apānaṃ dhehi vyānaṃ dhehi, cakṣurdhehi śrotraṃ dhehi, mano dhehi vācaṃ dhehi, ātmānaṃ dhehi pratiṣṭhāṃ dhehi, dhehi mayi dhehi. This is how the mantra has been given in Taittirya Aranyaka. But while chanting, especially in the Krishnamacharya tradition, how is it chanted? We see that for the sentence is broken into half while chanting āyurdhehi, prāṇaṃ dhehi, apānaṃ dhehi, vyānaṃ dhehi, cakṣurdhehi, śrotraṃ dhehi, mano dhehi, vācaṃ dhehi, ātmānaṃ dhehi, pratiṣṭhāṃ dhehi, dhehi, mayi dhehi. And while chanting it, also omkara is added at the beginning of each of these sentences. Om āyurdhehi, Om prāṇaṃ dhehi. So that is how it also is chanted, this Ayur Mantra. Okay. Now, what is the, we will first as our, as we do it normally, we will see how these are, as you can see, lot of repetitions are there. We will go into the meaning of the repetition and other things. First, we will see the word split. āyurdhehi is split as āyuhu dhehi. prāṇaṃ dhehi is clear. apānaṃ dhehi. vyānaṃ dhehi. cakṣurdhehi is split as a chakshuhu dhehi. āyurdhehi is āyuhu dhehi. cakṣurdhehi is chakshuhu dhehi. And then śrotraṃ dhehi. Mano dhehi is split as manaha dhehi. And then vācaṃ dhehi is as it is ātmānaṃ dhehi, pratiṣṭhāṃ dhehi, dhehi, mayi dhehi. So only a few places āyuhu dhehi, chakshuhu dhehi, manaha dhehi. Otherwise, all these remain the same. And then you can see that in all of these, that the repeated word is dhehi. What is the dhehi? Before going into what we understand as a dhehi, we should see that what dhehi is not. Dhehi, there are two words in Sanskrita. Dhehi and dehi. You might have heard in the stories where Acharya Shankara goes for bhiksha. So in the Kanakadhara Stotram, you might have heard that he goes from house to house and asking for bhiksha. How does he ask for alms or bhiksha? Bhavati bhiksham dehi. He says bhiksham dehi. It's not a dehi. It is a dehi. Bhavati. Oh, mother in the house. Bhiksham, alms, dehi, give. So dehi, the alpa prana means give. Here it is a dhehi, mahaprana, dhehi. So what is a dhehi? Dhehi is derived from the root dha. So what does it mean? Dharana poshana yogo. Dharana means hold or retain. Poshana means nourish. So basically we can take as a hold, retain and nourish. Retain, stabilize. Holding also means stabilizing. So stabilize and nourish. So that is the meaning of the word dhehi. And it doesn't mean give. So to give, if you have to say it is dehi. Dhehi means to hold and to nourish, to stabilize and to nourish. Okay. Now, what are all the things that we are asking? So simple. And to whom? The Paramatman, the Supreme Being. So we are asking. So what are all the things we are asking? Ayuhu Dhehi. What is Ayuhu? Lifespan. Lifespan is Ayuhu. We know in Yoga Sutra that the karma phala, which is also called as a vipaka. So we do a lot of karma and then next birth we take. What does our next birth constitute of? That is called as vipaka. What does it constitute? It constitutes of jati, ayu, ayus and bhoga. Jati means the species in which we take birth as human beings, cats, a squirrel, monkey, all those things. So that is the jati. Ayuhu means lifespan, the length of life. And then bhoga is major experiences of suffering or happiness. So our vipaka has these three aspects. So of which the middle aspect, the central aspect is ayuhu, lifespan. So what are we asking? Ayuhu dhehi. Stabilize my lifespan or nourish my lifespan. Āyurdhehi. Which means let there be, let my, whatever is my karma vipaka, means everyone is born and the jati is not changed normally, cannot be changed, basically generally not changed. In extraordinary situation, jati will also be changed, the species can be changed. There are examples like the great Nahusha, who was a great king who became an Indra, and then suddenly, because he disrespected the sages, Saptarishis, in that very birth, he became a serpent. That's a negative example of changing of jati in the self same birth. And then there was one great Nandikeshwara. He was a great devotee of Shiva. Because of his devotion, in the same birth as a human being, he got transformed into Deva. So jati can be changed. But ayuhu, so jati generally cannot be changed. But in certain extraordinary situations, jati will be changed. But ayuhu, ayuhu, though we belong to the same species, the same human species, it may vary from one person to the other person. That is, the normal lifespan is 100 years. For human beings, we are all, as a human beings, our normal lifespan is 100, means allotted. This human species can live for 100 years. That is Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayuh Purushaha, 100 years is the lifespan. Sometimes the commentators say in Yoga Sutra, in the Vedas, we can see 120 is also stated as the lifespan or the complete lifespan. Acharya Ramanuja lived till 120 years. So, and that is also stated as a full lifespan. But what we are asking here is whatever is the allotted lifespan. See, though 100 years is possible to live, humanly possible to live, but depending upon the lifespan, there are, depending upon the Purva Janma Karma, the lifespan from individual to individual may vary. But still, whatever is our allotted lifespan, let us get it completely. Let that be stabilized, because there are so many cross currents, so many influences which we cannot see in this world. We live in so many currents, cross currents and undercurrents. Let us not be blown away by that. Let there be no akala mrityu. So the commentators, when we are sorry, whenever we ask for ayuhu, what is our reasonable way of asking ayuhu? Let me attain the allotted lifespan. Let there be no akala mrityu, untimely passing away. So let that not happen. So whatever is according to my karma, let me attain that in full, ideally 100 years. So if we do our karma properly and lead our life properly, ideally we may get 100 years, but at least whatever is allotted 60, 70, 80, let us get that full quota. Let there be no akala or untimely passing away, neither to us nor amongst us, nor for the near and dear. So that is the prayer āyurdhehi. Ayuhu has so much of an explanation. So ayuhu is not very simple. So this is the prayer. Our prayer should be reasonable. That whatever is my lifespan that has been allotted, let that be attained. Even in the Shanti Mantra, Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu. That's how Bhadram Karnevihi. Devahitam Yadayuhu. Deva Prahitam. Whatever is given by the gods, according to our karma phala, let us attain that. Let us not be, uh, let us not be, let us not be kept away from what has been already allotted. The already sanctioned thing, let us attain. That's our humble prayer. And if possible, let us attain the Purnayuhu. Just like Acharya Sri Krishnamacharya, by his exemplary life as a yogi and a paropakari and a great Acharya. So he lived one full 100 years Purna Acharya. So that is the prayer āyurdhehi, nourish my lifespan. In the sense, let it be stable. Let me attain the life that has been sanctioned to me by the gods according to my karma. Then, so ayuhu is there, but what is intricately connected with ayuhu is prana. So life is very closely connected with how our prana is. Even in Hatha Pradipika, we see that maranam tasya nishkrantihi. Dehaha. So if prana is in the deha, then that is life. When marana, when the prana leaves this body, then that is marana. So hence, immediately after ayuhu, the Vedic Rishi connects to the important factor that establishes the stability of ayuhu, that is prana. So important factor is, so that's why we are prani even. So so prana is the major. There are actually 5 aspects of prana: prana, apānaṃ, vyānaṃ, udana, samana. But a representative list is given here of the 3 major, among the 5 also 3 major pranas are mentioned here. So by the mention of 3, the other 2 should also be taken to have been mentioned. So prāṇaṃ dhehi. Prana is that which brings in energy to this system. Prāṇaṃ dhehi, nourish my prana. And then apānaṃ dhehi, nourish my apāna. So that prana, which that division of prana which removes impurities from the system, as we acquire energy for the system, apāna is that which is removing the impurities or the waste from the system. So that is also very important. Prāṇaṃ dhehi, apānaṃ dhehi. And then vyānaṃ dhehi. Vyānaha sarvashariragaha. Vyāna is the vayu that is there in all parts of the body, ensuring the circulation. So circulation, the movements of limbs, everything is taken care of by the Vyāna, the all-pervasive vayu that is responsible for the joints, etc. So hence, let prana be nourished, apana be nourished, vyana be nourished. Let circulation in the body be proper. Let the elimination from the body be proper, and let the acquisition of energy and resources through the prana, let that be nourished, well nourished. So that is when ayuhu becomes meaningful. If there is a malfunction, lack of functioning, if there is a blockage in the nadis, if the prana does not flow, then what happens? Even though a person is having the lifespan, it will be a sorrow, it will be a suffering, it will be a life of pain and illness. So hence the flow of prana, Yoga Vasishtha very clearly observes that the subtler cause from which all the illnesses manifest is through the malfunctioning of prana. The blockage in the nadis makes the prana flow excess to some parts, and there is the failure of flow of prana into some parts. So hence it is very essential to do all those activities which will facilitate the free flow of prana in this body by removing the impurities in the nadis. So the major factor that removes, of course, the nadi shodhana practice, etc., are there. The major factor, according to Yoga Vasishtha, which makes the nadis straight, the channels clear, is good conduct. Dravya mantra shubhakramaihi. So mantras, chanting of the mantras, reflecting the meaning of it, and then performing good, noble activities. So doing the yamas and niyamas properly, and doing all the chanting of the mantras, etc., and the reflecting upon the meaning of that. So keeping the mind calm. So this is based on the Adi Vyadhi section of Yoga Vasishtha, where it clearly states that if the mind is kept calm, kept unagitated, then naturally there will be no blockages, no adverse impact on the nadis. When the nadis are all clear and straight, the passage is clean, then prana will flow properly. If the prana flows properly, no cause for any anxiety, for illness. So hence, yama niyamas, good conduct, practice of the mantras, chanting, etc., have a favorable influence on the mind and thereby influencing the nadis, which in turn facilitates the free flow of prana. On the converse, if the mind is filled with agitations, filled with kleshas, raga, dvesha, vinivesha, etc., full of agitations and afflictions, then what happens? This state of mind influences the nadis. Nadis become clogged. There is accumulation of vata, pitta, kapha in the nadis. Then prana's flow is obstructed. From that, slowly adhija vyadhis manifest. Psychosomatic illnesses manifest by this process. So hence, it is very essential that even though if I have lifespan, my prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana should function properly. For that, I have to keep my mind calm and peaceful. For that, all the practices like yamaniyama which have been prescribed have to be done to keep the mind calm. then prana will be taken care of. So it is not merely a prayer. The Vedas by this prayer reminds that it is not merely prayer. I should also do actions which will help the realization of the prayer. So one thing is, we should be aware that these are all the aspects of the body which should function properly. And we should have good prayers in that regard. Not merely notionally, we should also do actions, our actions, that which is in our hand. So our Shastras always say that while it is good to pray, but it is not enough to stop only with the prayer. The self-same Yoga Vasishta says, Yo yam artham prarthayate tadarthancha yihate kramat. One should have a systematic prayer, and then one should also work towards the realization of that prayer. So it's not merely by prayer, it should also be accompanied by requisite action. Both are needed. So this prayer in a way kind of instills the desire in the mind for well-being, for nourishment, for upkeep of the system properly. So by prarthana itself is a reminder, and then the corresponding action should be done. So that is the essence. That's how mantra, that's why mantra are chanted. Of course, it has a vibrational value. It also has a meaning. That's why Yoga Sutra emphasizes tad japaha tad artha bhavanam. Mere japa has its own value, but limited value. But the meaning should also be reflected upon, and action should be taken. See, the whole purpose of this Mantra Artha Initiative. Why are we discussing the meaning of the mantras? Why can't we simply chant and go? To only add the desired impact. It is not that by magically chanting this mantra, some change will come about. Of course, as I repeatedly say, vibration has its own value, but we have to move further. Along with the vibrational value of positive, favorable impact that it creates, we should also know the meaning. Only when we know the meaning, we can act. Only when we act, our prayers will be meaningful. So hence, it's very essential to know the meaning of the mantra and also implement to the extent possible what has been stated in the mantra. So for example, this mantra says, nourish my prana, nourish my apānaṃ, nourish my vyānaṃ. So let them all be nourished, let them flow freely in this body. How do I nourish it? The Shastras reply that keep the mind in an unagitated way. Naturally, the prana, the nadi will be clean, then the prana, etc., will flow properly. So, hence, the profound idea that mantra meaning should be known and one should also try to implement it in life. That's how the mantra has a more deeper, meaningful impact in life. Okay, then Ayuhu, and then prana functions properly. And also, where does this prana send its energy? Basically, to the indriyas, the sense organs. So, if prana is energy, where is it channelized? Where is it sent? Of course, for the upkeep of the body, that is there. Along with that, it is this prana which powers the indriyas, the jnanendriyas, the chitta, and the karmendriyas. The senses of knowledge, the mind, and also the senses of action. All these are again powered by the prana. That's why in the Upanishads, we see the word prana being used synonymously to the sense organs. Saptashirishanyah pranaha. The Vedas themselves say, Saptashirishanyah pranaha. 7 pranas are there in this head. Shirishanya. Shiras means head. Shirishanya. Related to the head, 7 pranas are there. What are those? The ears, the eyes, the nostrils, and the mouth. So one 2, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. So 7 openings, which are the openings for the senses. So they are denoted as a prana. So the sense organs themselves cannot function properly without the adequate supply of pranas, and hence the sense organs are synonymously mentioned as pranas. So hence let the pranas in themselves flow freely. Let the prana, and also by that let my cakṣuhu. Cakṣuhu is the sense of seeing, and śrotraṃ, the sense of hearing. Seeing and hearing both are very essential. When we look at the Shastra, Chakshuhu can point to the Pratyaksha Pramana. And then Shrotraṃ is a Shruti, Agama Pramana. So Pratyaksha, sorry, or so Pratyaksha, Agama, in the middle you have Anumana. Just like Prāṇa, apānaṃ, vyānaṃ is a representative of the Panchavayus. Similarly, the Pratyaksha, the first one indicated by Chakshuhu, and the Shrotraṃ, which indicates the hearing or the Agama Pramana, the teachings from the tradition and the Guru. So the Pratyaksha and Agama are mentioned. So that which is in between, that is Anumana, should also be taken. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Agama. Direct perception, inference, and also the verbal testimony. The three pramanas which are given in the Yoga Shastra as the under the pramana vrittis. Prāṇaṃ pratyakshanumanāgamah pramanani. While the direct meaning of this is, let my jnanendriyas function properly. What are the jnanendriyas? The senses of that which bring knowledge. So, chakshuhu, śrotraṃ, ghranam, rasanendriyam, and tvakindriyam. 5 senses of knowledge. That is the ability to see, the ability to hear, the ability to smell, the ability to taste, and the ability to touch or feel. These are the 5 jnanendriyas. Let all the 5 jnanendriyas be nourished. So let us be able to Bhadraṃ karane bhishrunuyama devaha Bhadram pashyemakshabhiryajatraha. So everywhere, so there is a prayer. So this basic prayer should be remembered. Means let my eyes be nourished. Again the same point. I have a good prayer. Let my eyes be nourished. So if my eyes are to be nourished, along with the prayer, what should I do? I should do trataka. I should also not misuse my eyes. Well, in wasting my time seeing things which are not necessary. Anything that is helpful in the path of dharmartha kama moksha, in the purusharthas, that's where we have to channelize our senses of knowledge. So hence, if I have to nourish my chakshurindriya, so not only should I eat things which will nourish the eyesight, or practices which will nourish the eyesight, I should also not waste prana through that chakshurindriya, so which will finally distract the mind, will destabilize the system, and which will have an impact on our lifespan even. So hence, when we have a prayer for nourishment of the eyes, then it also comes with prayer, knowledge, and action. So I chant the prayer, I remember the meaning, and I also do the requisite actions which will facilitate the fructification of the prayer. See, it's not that all that we pray will come true, but at least from our part, we should play our own role in the upkeep, and then the God will play his role. So adhishtanam tatha karta karananja prathak vidham vividhascha prathak cheshta daivam chaivatra panchamam. The unseen factor is also one among the factor. It is not that the unseen factor is the only factor. So hence, while we have the prayer, we remind ourselves to nourish the eyes. Similarly, the ears. So, while the cakṣurdhehi and śrotraṃ dhehi is a prayer to nourish our seeing capability, nourish our hearing capability, it represents all the five jnanendriyas: the seeing capability, hearing capability, smelling capability, tasting capability, and touching capability, feeling the hot, cold, that capability. So all these five are represented by these two. And also, as I mentioned, if cakṣurdhehi points to pratyaksha, śrotraṃ dehi points to agama, that which is in between this is anumana, inference. So direct perception, inference, and also the capability of understanding from the agama. So let that also be nourished. That can also be taken as an implied prayer. Let me use all these three pramanas in making my knowledge correct, precise. So it's not that all that I see alone or all that I perceive through the senses alone is true. I should also use my inference. And it is not that what I see and my infer by my intellect is alone true. No, there is certain things beyond our analysis which is handed down through our tradition. So those accumulated wisdom of the past. So all that put together, only knowledge becomes complete. If I say I will depend only on my senses or only upon my judgment, my knowledge is going to remain incomplete. So cakṣurdhehi, śrotraṃ dehi points to a prayer where I nourish myself through pratyaksha, anumana, and agama. That's when my knowledge about things will become complete. Then mano dhehi. Nourish my mind, stabilize my mind. So as I mentioned, dhehi means to nourish and also to stabilize. Of course, the mind is presented with many options to get destabilized through the senses, to factors within, factors outside, adi bhautika, adi daivika, adhyatmika. So many factors are there to destabilize the mind. So it's our prayer that let my mind remain nourished and stabilized. So that is the prayer, because if the mind is stable, unflustered, undistracted, ability to maintain its balance and equanimity, then, as I said, it will have an impact on the prana and a favorable impact on the lifespan. So, even in the Ramayana, we see that the great Anjaneya, so he goes to the Lanka in search of Mata Sita. So there he has to roam around in various places, and one of the places where he has to roam around is the Antahpura of Ravana. So the private residences of Ravana and his queens. So, but he has to look into all those places. It's not a good behavior to look into others' places, private apartments. But Hanuman himself states that Paradharavarodhasya prasuptasya nirikshanam idam khalu mamatyartham dharmalopam karishyate. I am a brahmachari. Unfortunately, I have to look into the private apartments of other people. Oh, this is going to hurt my brahmacharya. But next, immediately, he himself stabilizes himself. And he himself states, Valmiki records, Mano hi hetu sarvesham indriyanam pravartane shubhashubhasu avasthasu tachame suvyavasthitam. Mind is the one which will drag you down. Mind is the one which will sublimate you. So, for Shubha and Ashubha states, the stability of the mind is what matters. The unstable mind will drag you down, and then the stable mind will elevate you and sublimate you. So, Hanuman himself states, comments about his, observes his mind and states, no problem, my mind is stable. I am not going to be distracted or diverted or kind of adversely impacted by what I am seeing. But I have a particular objective of moving around this place. I keep that in focus and I will remain unchanged, unflustered. So hence, because of that stability of the mind, Hanuman could finally look through all those places without getting distracted and finally found Mata Sita. So hence, nourish my mind. Help me observe my mind in all positive and in the one thing is this is distraction, and the other thing is Hanuman himself drowns in despair. After searching everywhere, Hanuman does not find Sita, Mata. So then he gets into a state of depression. So that is mentioned in Valmiki Ramayana. He even contemplates upon his committing suicide. So, but there again, he draws his mind up, stabilizes his mind, and then continues his search. So, he is the perfect example of mano dhehi, nourish my mind. So, because of not so favorable situation, the negativity and depression may come, and again, so many distractions may also come. So, our prayer is mano dhehi. So, this can be chanted at various disturbing situations which will throw us off balance. So, in those situations, remembering Bhagavan Hanuman, Lord Hanuman, we can chant, nourish my mind, stabilize my mind with positivity. So, stabilize my mind with the notion of equilibrium and nourish my mind with positive thoughts. So, that is the prayer. Then life will be happy. Then we will succeed in the goals that we have set for ourselves. And then vācaṃ dhehi. Again, there is very interesting thing. So, how do we express our mind? Through the speech. So, yen manasa manute tad vachaha vadati. So, vācaṃ dhehi means nourish my speech, means whatever I intend. See, so many wonderful thoughts will be there. We should also have the capability of converting them into useful speech, balanced speech. So, thoughts will be good, but we will be unable to express it adequately. See, and one more thing is, so in our mutual relationship with others also, we will have so many good feelings about others. Until we express it, manifest it through the speech, the other person will not know what you have in the mind. So hence, let my mind be nourished and let my speech be a capable vehicle of all the good things that I want to express. So let it be expressed properly. So let the connect between the manas and vak be there, a very good connection be there. So whatever I visualize as a teacher, as a speaker, many times I think so many points, but finally, uh, how much do we express? How much do I express? Many a time there is a lot of gap between what I think and what we speak. So hence, let that gap be not there between what I have conceived and what I have expressed. That's one important thing between the connection between manas and speech. And then there is one more important thing is that let there be a consonance between what I think and what I speak. Hmm. There is a beautiful shloka in Sanskrita. Manasi anyat, vachasi anyat, karmani anyat, duratmanam. Manasi ekam, vachasi ekam, karmani ekam, mahatmanam. What is the difference between a mahatma and a duratma? A great noble soul and also a not so good person. Hmm? A Mahatma, whatever he thinks, there is a consonance between his thought, speech, and action. Whereas there is absolute disconnect between, so he is a Mahatma. But for a person where there is absolute disconnect between his thoughts, speech, and action, so he is a Duratma. So hence, let our thoughts be positive and speech also be favorably influenced so that the action can also follow. So hence, nourish my mind, nourish my speech also. And again, so many people will have so many problems which is speech. stuttering and such other problems will be there. So this can also be a prayer in that regard, and also speech. The vācaṃ dhehi can represent. So vak is one of the karmendriyas. Just like representation of these two for all the five jnanendriyas, work can be taken as a representation to all the karmendriyas. So that is vak, pani, pada, payu, upastha. They are the karmendriyas. Vak is speech, the organ of speech. Pani is hands, and then pada is the feet. Payu is the organ of the solid waste removal, and then upastha is the urinary organ, and also the generative organ, reproductive organ, upastha. So hence all these five, let these karmendriyas be functioning properly, let them all be nourished. Vācaṃ dhehi. So that is a representative. So many ideas, so many, and also vācaṃ dhehi is nourish the speech. What is nourishing the speech? One more dimension of vācaṃ dhehi is speech should be anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat swadhyayabhyasanam chaiva vāngmayam tapa uchyate. As Bhagavad Gita says, what is the well nourished speech? Anudvegakaram vakyam. Our speech should not agitate others. Udvega, agitation. Whatever I speak should not incite someone, agitate someone, insult someone. No. So, or throw other person off his balance. So such speech should not be uttered. So vakyam should be anudvegakaram. It should not agitate others. And then satyam, it should be truthful. Priyam, endearing. Hitam, beneficial. And then, so these are the four qualities by which the speech can be nourished. Anudvegakaram, non-agitating. Satyam, truthful. Hitam, priyam, endearing, and hitam is beneficial. And then swadhyaya abhyasanam, and studying of the mantras, studying of the shastras, and also chanting of the mantras. That is swadhyaya. So by these five, so this is the action that I can do to nourish my speech at my level. And rest of it, I leave it to the God to give me the capability to utter the words properly. So nourish my speech properly. Then ātmānaṃ dhehi. So ātmānaṃ here is atma. Here is the consciousness. Nourish my consciousness. What is this? How can the consciousness be nourished? Means nourish my orientation towards consciousness, in the sense that I lead my life with an outwardly awareness, thinking that I am the body, I am the mind, I am the senses. So let my consciousness be nourished. Let my consciousness manifest in the activities of my life. Let my life be centered on the consciousness. Let me slowly overcome my body centric, mind centric, sense centric activity, and let me move towards the inner reality, the Anandamaya Kosha, the indwelling consciousness. So ātmānaṃ dhehi refers to let the presence, let me feel more the presence of the consciousness within me, which is my true nature. Nourish my knowledge and awareness about the consciousness. So that is ātmānaṃ dhehi. Help me move from the external body mind centric annamaya pranamaya manomaya vijnanamaya level. Let me move to the anandamaya level. Let that be nourished. That is the source of great bliss and happiness. As long as we limit ourselves to the body mind sense understanding or conceptualization of ourselves, it is replete. The body, mind, senses are bound to undergo changes and also suffering, whereas the consciousness does not undergo suffering. So hence we have to nourish that inward movement of realizing that consciousness. So that is drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. So that is the prayer here. Nourish my movement towards swarupavasthanam. That's the prayer here. Ātmānaṃ dhehi. And then pratiṣṭhāṃ dhehi. Pratiṣṭhā. Pratiṣṭhā means there are two meanings to pratiṣṭhā. Pratiṣṭhā, in one sense, it means stability. Pratiṣṭhati, stability. And pratiṣṭhā also means stature. Stability. See, the previous prayer was movement towards the conscious. Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. But that avasthanam will be changed, or quickly we will move to the outwardliness. So there is always in Shastra, in Yoga Shastra, there is always a tug of war between Vyutthana and Nirodha. Vyutthana samskara and Nirodha samskara. Vyutthana is that which takes us outwardly. Nirodha is that which will take us inward. So outward towards the body, mind, sense awareness. So that which take us, that samskara, that subliminal impressions which will take us outside is Vyutthana. And Nirodha is that which will slowly reduce distractions and help us move toward the establishment in the conscious nature. So once we move, what we pray is stability. Let us be stable. Let us be established in that higher awareness. Let us not quickly descend into chaos. Let us not quickly descend into distractions. So let there be a pratishtha. In the final sutra of Yoga Sutra, we see पुरुषार्थ शून्यानां गुणानां प्रतिप्रसवः कैवल्यं स्वरूप प्रतिष्ठा वाचिति शक्तिरिति. The same pratishtha that is prayed. So means let my awareness be established in its own true nature without distract. Let there be stability in that. Let it not be a momentary glimpse about my conscious nature. Let me be stably established there. So that is the prayer pratisṭhāṃ. That is one dimension of the meaning. If this is the spiritual dimension, so worldly dimension is also there. Pratishtha also means stature, respect in the society. So in the sense that when all these are functioning properly, then a person is well-rounded, capable, and he is very efficient in his work. I have a stable mind, equilibrium. I have a good, eloquent speech. I know my true nature. My pranas are functioning properly. My jnanendriyas are doing good. My karmendriyas are doing good. And I live longer to work longer. Then naturally my stature in the society will also improve. See, the same thing we can see in Acharya Krishnamacharya's life, that he lived longer in a very happy and healthy manner, and he delivered the teachings consistently. For so as long as he lived, he taught. So hence that which will, when if we all this is beautifully maintained, this will give us a stature. Even today we look up to him as the role model and the guru. That is pratishtha. He is a stable, he is established in our minds because āyurdhehi, all the other factors are established. So hence pratishtha comes with the well-oiled functioning of all these previous factors. We can make solid, useful, stable contributions to the society when all this is taken care of, and that's how we attain a great stature in life even. So that's the prayer. So one is stable existence in the awareness, that is a adhyatmic, a spiritual interpretation, and also a good stature let me attain. So that is the prayer. So hence, so this sums up both the spiritual and the material purposes for which I ask for all this nourishments. And then finally a reiteration, Mam Dhehi, nourish me. Nourish me means me, whatever I perceive as myself. So let me be nourished. So it's a summary of all these things. And then let this all be nourished in me, mayi dhehi. In me, So nourish me can be taken as a reiteration of let me, the consciousness, let it be nourished. Let my understanding of myself, let that be nourished. From being body, mind, sense awareness, let me be nourished with the true knowledge of myself and mayi dhehi. So if this is spiritual, then in me, mayi, in me, let all this ayuhu, prāṇaṃ, cakṣuhu, śrotraṃ, manaha, all this be nourished. So if this is a spiritual reiteration for well-being, this is the material well-being reiteration. Mam dhehi, nourish my conscious nature, nourish my awareness about my true conscious nature, and mayi dhehi, in me let ayuhu, prāṇaṃ, cakṣu, śrotraṃ, etc. Let all this be nourished so that I lead a materially also very happy, healthy life. So that is mayi dhehi, in me let all this be nourished, and my awareness about myself, let that also be nourished. So it's also reiteration. Why does a reiteration needed? Because which shows your seriousness. Dviruktihi adarartha. Our shastras always say anything which is uttered more than twice, always means there is adara, means I respect, I really mean it. So when I ask for all these things, this is not a simple prayer. When I ask and I also reiterate, which means I really want it. It is not one another prayer. It is a serious prayer, and I indeed require all these well-being. So that is a complete prayer for a total well-being. So this is the children, especially teaching the children with this mantra. One thing is the chanting of this itself is simple. Smaller repetitive words are there, small terminologies are there. So, and also it introduces an individual in all his dimension. So the lifespan, then the prana, the subtler vital energy, the sense organs, the pratyaksha anumana, agama, pramana, the epistemology, the working of the mind, speech, conscious nature, and finally stability in our self-awareness, and also stature in the society by making useful contribution. So for children especially, this will be a very good mantra to be taught, and the meaning also to be inculcated, so that as this is short, it can be easily remembered, and then also the meaning can also be usefully interpreted this way. So that, and finally this is a reiteration also, which underlines the fact that I really mean this, I really want this. So this becomes a very useful prayer, especially for children, and also we ourselves forget many things. So in that sense also, these mantras, they remind, this mantra, especially Ayur Mantra, reminds us of these lofty goals for life, for health and well-being. So with this, I will stop here. If there are any points to mention, I welcome the participants. Yeah, who would want to speak?
Yeah, Naidu here, sir. Yeah,
Yes.
I think so much depth is there for this mantra itself. I thought it's a very simple mantra because when I was chanting, I never realized like it has connected a lot of components, everything from different layers and all.
Of course. That's the beauty of the Shastra, that each terminology has layers of meanings.
It has connected to Yoga Sutras and Hatha Yoga Pradipika, right? If you connect all the dots.
We can, of course, connect it. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, even I'd like to thank for clarifying the difference between dehi and dhehi, sir. It is such a simple thing, but we overlook it, sir, because we just assume things, and like I think we'll have more clarity while chanting it going forward, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. In Sanskrita, the Mahaprana means a small change in Mahaprana. In this case, it is not an opposite meaning. In the same direction, like Dehi is give, Dehi is nourish. In certain other cases, if the Mahaprana is changed, a different negative or kind of not so favorable meaning also comes. Vada in Sanskrita means to speak. Vadha means to kill. So,
oh my God.
so yeah, Alpaprana, Mahaprana does change the meaning. So in this case, same direction but a different meaning, but certain detrimental meaning also comes if we change that alpa prana mahaprana.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay then, so we will conclude today's session here. Om kayena vacha manasendriyirva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Thank you very much.